is to start anew with Ty Lue and build around Kawhi and Paul George. Again, NBA execs reportedly believe Clippers will trade Lou Williams in hopes of creating a fresh start. Chris Broussard is joining us now. Broussard, I know you loved my throwback pick, but let's talk about this. What do you make of the Clippers offseason?
Love the flex, Jenna. You put Nick in his place for sure on that one. Loved it. But the Clippers, look, it's been a good offseason. It started slowly. The Lakers were smacking them around, but they came on strong. With getting Serge Ibaka, I can't say enough about this addition. He's a 7-footer, can protect the rim, can step out on the floor and shoot the three. He's a great locker room guy. He's buddies with Kawhi Leonard, which should improve the chemistry throughout the team. That was a great addition. And look, obviously they lost Montrezl Harrell. But especially now that they have Ibaka, they feel like that was addition by subtraction because Montrezl was a big part of the locker room problems. I'm not saying there was a civil war there, but he was a part of the tension. Luke Kennard, nice addition. If he stays healthy, he's better than Landry Shamet. Now, let's get to Lou Williams. The one thing they haven't addressed is point guard. They need a playmaking point guard and more leadership, too. And that's where Lou and Pat Bev come in. They'll trade both of those guys if they can get a playmaking point guard that they like. The problem is Lou's 34, only makes $8 million a year, so it's tough to get equal value for him. And Pat Bev has 2 years, $27 million left on his contract. Not much of a market for him. So you hear Terry Rozier, that is very unlikely. Michael Jordan loves Terry Rozier, not looking to give him up. So they're going to have their hands full trying to get that point guard. And they may have to go to battle with what they have, and they understand that within that building.
All right, so the offseason thus far has been a failure. And it's been a failure because they weren't good enough last year, and they didn't get better. Maybe Ibaka is, in this role, slightly better than Montrezl Harrell. But they were not a slight Montrezl Harrell upgrade away from winning the title. They absolutely... So here's the thing. Everyone's like, oh, how do they stack up to the Lakers? The Clippers need to worry about getting to the Lakers, much less beating the Lakers, because they couldn't do that last year. So let's look at teams we think are going to be in the playoffs in the West next year. The Nuggets, the Jazz, the Rockets, if they stay together, the Warriors, the Mavs, obviously, the Suns, I think a lot of people like them. Guess what? Of all the potential playoff teams, the Clippers have the single worst backcourt in the Western Conference. Prove me wrong. Show me the lie. The worst backcourt
but they got the best
of
wings.
any team that could make. That helped them a ton last year. So in other words, let's run it back last year. No backcourt, no rim protector, but we got these wings. Let's run it back. So
they do have a rim protector
to address. Ibaka is an improvement. I will agree with you on that. They needed to address point guard. There's a reason they were talking. Yeah. Could Chris Paul go there? Could there be a reunion? They didn't. So Wilds, I guess maybe you could acquire Spencer Dinwiddie. I would imagine Lou Williams is the type of player KD loves, and KD's running that team. So maybe that trade happens. Yeah. But that massive point guard upgrade isn't available. Drew Holiday's not on the board anymore. It's not there. So they're going to go into the Western Conference playoffs with the worst backcourt of any playoff team. That ain't great, Wilds.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little bit tired today because I spent all night on the trade machine trying to get a better player for Lou Williams than Lou Williams, and I failed. And I was up till 3 in the morning. I came up with Chris Dunn. Maybe. D. Rose would be nice. That's the closest one. And I spent the rest of my 4 hours trying to move John Wall out of Washington, and I just can't make it happen. So until I hear an answer of who's going to give you 18 points in 29 minutes, I think you're keeping Lou Williams. And Brandon, I know you're going to be like, it's a chemistry issue. It's a chemistry issue. The one thing we haven't really dug in on is how good the Clippers coaching is. You got Ty Lue. You've got Kenny Atkinson, who built that whole Nets culture. You got Chauncey, who I would follow into a mouth of a volcano. And you got Larry Drew, who's coached for almost 30 years. So if it's a chemistry issue, you've got a leadership core that's just a pure dream team. I think I'd stay with Lou Williams and rely on the leadership of that coaching staff to make it work.
Oh, I'm not sure. And sometimes your answers are right in that locker room. You know, look, we heard the reports come out in a bubble. Montrez, Lou, the dysfunction there, the lack of chemistry there, the lack of buy-in. And guess what happened? When I say, you know what, it's time to blow it up. It's time to blow it up. It's either you get rid of Paul George and you move on, or you get the Montrezes out. You get the Lou Williams out. And you know what happened? Chris just start laughing at me. Ha, 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 ha. Brandon Marshall just said blow it up. Ha, ha, ha. Look, their answers are right there in that locker room.
Blowing it up is getting rid of your stars.
No. Blowing it up is blowing up 100%. What are you talking? It's more than just Kawhi and Paul George. You got to think about, we had 2 six-man of the years sitting on our bench. So for that reason, those 2 guys, if they're not going to buy into what they're selling, meaning load management was an issue, and also the superstar treatment, if you're not buying into that and you're trying to overstep your boundaries of putting yourself before the 2 superstars, you got to go. I believe it is blowing it up when you start trading players or letting players go or not re-signing players that don't buy in to what they're building.
And again, the definition of what blowing it up is or isn't aside, where it's one thing if guys don't buy into Kawhi Leonard is going to load manage. I would say that's a coaching and Kawhi decision, and role players, no pun intended, probably need to know their role. It's another thing entirely if guys are justifiably angry that they are regularly sitting on a plane waiting because Kawhi Leonard lives in San Diego and he's late again. That would make anybody mad. And so that's not a do you buy in, that's a does your leader do the requisite job? Say it again, Jenna.
I was just curious which one of us is late to the morning meeting every single day. But you know what? That's neither here nor there. We'll discuss that another time. Don't worry about that. Sorry, that was just on the top of my head.
Wow. It's so true. We can have that conversation. You are the Kawhi. First things first.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take that. And what I'll say is this. As I've said, Jenna just did a whole soliloquy as we've worked together for 5 years, in person or not. And so I guess maybe Kawhi Leonard and I have a kinship there. The meeting tends to start when I get there. So I guess Kawhi feels the plane leaves when I arrive. I think it maybe works a little better in our environment than guys sitting on a hot runway in Inglewood waiting for a damn flight.
It bothers me. No, it doesn't. It bothers me. No, Nick, no, it bothers me because I come from the NFL. If you're on time, you're late. But you know what? I understand my role. I haven't been on this show for 5 or 6 years. You know what? I know that I just got the opportunity to occupy the seat. So I don't say anything. So thank you so much, Jenna Wolf, for highlighting something that's been bothering me. So now we go back to Kawhi Leonard and we go back to the Clippers. Role players need to know your role.
And let me say this, like
it's not
Nick can improve and be on time, the Clippers can improve in the locker room.
Why don't we play a little drawing a blank? I opened a dented can of worms. Dwight Howard is already heaping praise on his new Philly teammates. Dwight, who just came from the Lakers where he played with LeBron, says, quote, Ben Simmons is a young LeBron. He's got the opportunity to be one of the greatest to ever play the game. Broussard, Dwight saying Simmons is a young LeBron is blank.
A stretch. No, make that a mammoth stretch. All right, he's not. I love Ben Simmons. He certainly, the Hall of Fame is a possibility. It's not a guarantee, but it's a possibility for him. But he'll never be LeBron. He'll never be in the GOAT conversation. He'll never be, the scorer that LeBron is. But here's the main thing. When you compare Ben Simmons to all-time greats, whether LeBron or the more appropriate comparison, Magic Johnson, the thing that Ben lacks to this point of his career is the work ethic of those 2 guys, the leadership of those 2 guys, the commitment to winning of those 2 guys, and understanding I want to be a superstar basketball player first, and the cultural celebrity will come late after that. Ben has it reversed. wanting to be a cultural celebrity and then a star basketball player. So he's got to get his intangibles right, like Magic and LeBron, before we can even think about him being as good as one of those guys.
Well, and you don't even mention maybe the most impressive part of LeBron's resume is his durability. In his entire NBA career, he has missed a total of 102 games. That, oddly enough, is the exact number of games Ben Simmons has missed in his career. The difference is LeBron's been playing 20 years and Ben's been playing 5. So the durability, but this is Dwight being unfair to Ben Simmons. He's trying to give a good quote, but he's setting up this conversation. And Wild's